Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's History World with none other than Goober, the traveling bear. And we're at Fort Frederick State Park, one of our favorite historic sites. And we're here to see Park Ranger Robert Ambrose. Hello, Robert.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Goober.
We drove a long ways to find out why you have a Confederate cannon in a French Indian War fort.
Well, that's a great question, Bill. So Fort Frederick got four Confederate Napoleon cannons like this one here in 1931 through the Daughters of the American Revolution. They got that from an act of Congress from the War Department at the time, and there were four of these cannons placed here at the fort. However, over time, we got to the point where there was just one left, the one you see here. And for years, it sat at a hole in the fort wall pointing out in the fort. So technically, this cannon still belongs to the Department of Defense. It was basically loaned to the DAR, who then loaned it to us. So this is still technically government property. This is a Confederate Napoleon made in Columbus, Georgia in 1864. And what's pretty cool about this cannon is it's got some pretty special markings on it that make this cannon unique. On the breech of the gun, the breech face, there are markings that are hard to see today. I'll have to pull out the pictures, but there, if you look close, you can see some scribbles on either side of the breech face.
Okay.
But at the top here, it says 3rd SCC, which stands for 3rd South Carolina Cavalry. 3rd South Carolina Cavalry Company C, the Beaufort Troop, was converted into artillery in 1863. This gun was made in 1864 and would have been with them at the end of the war during the Carolinas campaign, and they were part of the Department of South Carolina during the war. So it's a pretty special gun because of the markings, and the markings on the sides are fields of fire, tables of fire that don't match an actual like table of fire of the day. It matches probably what the gun could do. The gunner literally inscribed what the gun was capable of and how they wanted to on there. The tube itself is original. The carriage is a reproduction. It definitely saw some pretty good fighting. The 3rd South Carolina surrendered at Durham Station in 1865. And another interesting feature of the gun, if we come around to the muzzle, we're pretty sure that it saw some pretty serious combat. If you look inside, particularly if you come here and you can feel it, there's these little divots and marks inside.
Okay.
That is what's called, those are marks from what's called rotten shot. This gun was about to be overrun, and they fired a round that literally explodes inside of the barrel. That's why these marks are there, to try to kill whatever's in front of them. So this thing saw some hard combat in its day. And this has been part of the fort story since 1931, when the Daughters wanted us to have some old-timey cannon to help tell the fort story. And this one's here, and it's become part of our story for a long time. And we hope that it continues to play a role here for years to come.
My viewers will probably ask, the North Carolina campaign, everyone knows about the Gettysburg campaign, Bull Run, Antietam around here. What's the special battles that happened in North Carolina that this could have been at?
Well, it's hard to say with this because we don't know exactly where all this gun went. The cavalry unit that it was part of was in a variety of different places, moving a lot around. Even their own history just says the Carolinas campaign. So it could have been anywhere, just kind of trying to slow Sherman down during the ends of the war. But it more than likely was at the Battle of Bentonville, which was one of the last major battles of the Civil War, particularly in the Carolinas and in the Western Theater, as it was known at the time.
Okay. Well, I think you've answered a lot of my questions. Would you mind telling our viewers where Fort Frederick is located?
Sure. Fort Frederick is located off of I-70, exit 12, Big Pool, Maryland. We're between Hancock and Clear Spring, about 20 miles west of Hagerstown. We're pretty easy to find if you can find your way off of the interstate and come visit us. We have programming going on starting this weekend. We'll be open. The fort will be open weekends. And then once Memorial Day hits, we'll be open Thursday through Sunday for interpretation.
Well, thank you very much. Goober thanks you also, the traveling bear. Stay safe, be kind, and be courteous, everyone. Thank you again, Robert.
You're welcome.
Well, here you see the markings on the breech of the artillery piece, a shell with the ranges. There's 3rd South Carolina Cavalry right there, the engraving. We have shell with the ranges and elevation, 3 3/4. And there is Robert Ambrose with Goober. And I really have to say, the staff, Robert Ambrose, Bob Studi, and everyone there at Fort Frederick, they're just wonderful to work with and help make videos to help promote history with Goober the Traveling Bear. And don't forget, next year there will be a calendar, and then one of these pictures will be featured. Stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and thank you for watching.